There we go. Boy. Very next cast.
It's specifically designed to throw mini jigs and these ball head minnows, very ultralight baits for trout.
Man, these Crowley fish, man, are nuts.
Yeah, I've been throwing jigs and minnows, not getting anything.
There we go. Finally. Damn. My gold pearl and brown mini jig. Good Lord. Man, these Crowley fish, man, are nuts. Decent size, looks like a bow. Yep, nice chunky bow. There we go. Yeah, real nice bow. Good looking fish.
There we go.
That gold, pearl, and brown for sure. Trying other colors, but that one hit right away. Not as big as the last one, but I'll definitely take it. Nice little bow. we go. Pretty little bow. Let's get some moat.
All right, ladies and gents, I want to take a quick break from the action to show you what's going on out there and how I'm getting onto these fish. As always, I'll start with the rod and reel I'm using out there. This here is a 7'6" ultralight spinning rod, and I have it paired with a 1000 series reel. This is a katana spinning rod. It's a custom rod that's designed for throwing these ultralight baits like mini jigs and ball head minnows. And this is a Shimano Vanquish 1000 SSSP. Really nice setup, very expensive setup, but you don't have to have this really expensive equipment. You can get by with any ultralight spinning rod as long as it's 7'6" in length or 8 foot, and any 500 to 1000 series reel. Now, what's most important when you're trying to throw these ultralight baits like this is your casting distance. And if you got a decent sized rod and an average reel, the most important thing is your line. And what the line I have on here is Sinister Strand premium fiber braid in 4-pound. And then I run that up to a fluorocarbon leader of new Sinister Strand fluorocarbon in 4-pound. So Sinister finally came out with some fluorocarbon and some mono. So now I have the same line throughout my setup. It's a really nice line so far. But if you're new to throwing mini jigs and these ball head minnows, you don't have to start out with the braid. The braid can be a little bit tough to use if you're not used to it. It takes a little bit of know-how, and there's a lot of things you got to watch out for because you can get wind knots very easily and that kind of thing. Even though the braid casts probably the best when you're throwing these light baits. But if you go with a 2 to a 4-pound fluorocarbon or even mono, you can cast some of these, like say the 1/16 ounce mini jigs or ball heads, a little bit easier to cast, and you can at least get a taste for throwing these types of baits and figure out if that's what you really want to do. If you get into it, then you may want to invest and start trying the braid and the fluorocarbon leaders and all that stuff. But in the interim, if you just want to try it, you know, in between bait and weight and drop shotting, throwing some jigs, you can easily get away with 2 to 4 pound fluorocarbon on any spinning reel, as long as it's, you know, 500 to 1000 series reel, and your rod is an ultralight rod, at least 7'6" in length, or up to 8 foot. And you should be able to give it a try and get onto some fish if you can find them. Now, let's go to the bench, and I will show you the baits that are working out there and how I rig them up. All right, guys, here's some of the baits that were working the best out there. We'll start off with the mini jigs. I threw some minnows, but the mini jigs seem to be working the best. But these are the ones we got. Like you already saw, gold, pearl, and brown was working real good in the first part of the day. But then they started shifting to these brighter ones like goldfish and ghost shrimp right here. We're working really good, as you'll see later in the video. Now, how you rig these up is real simple, and we usually use 2 different types of weights. The most common in these tube jigs, and it's a 16th ounce, whoops, it's sliding down on me, and a 32nd ounce. Now typically you're going to use a 32nd ounce when it's a lot shallower and you're not covering as much water because the water's shallow and you want to give it a real slow presentation. Your 16th is what we use typically up in the Sierras because there's a lot of waters that are very deep, and we want this to fall a little bit faster while we retrieve it slowly so it covers more columns of water. So I'll show you how we rig these up in these tube jigs. It's very simple. And the way I like to do it is I start with the eye of the hook here, and I slide it into the tube part of the skirt side and carefully just slide it up inside. And then I use my thumb to push the rubber through. Hope I can get this skirt to straighten out. And it sits just like that. Now, the other way to rig it is to start with the hook side first, and this is an easy way. So like if you're already tied on and have your line tied on, you can switch out your jig colors by starting with the point side of the hook. Now you want to start your hook into the side of the jig up by the top where you want this eyelet to pop out. So I usually go up by the top, but off to the side, carefully slide it in there. And then you carefully slide the rubber around the jig lead and position it back, and just like that, just like the other way. Now If you want to remove it and try a different color, you can carefully pull the cap of the jig back and expose the lead, and then slowly push it out and guide the hook out, and your jig is just fine. And you can reuse it and get another color and throw it on here. And that's all there is to it. All right, now, most important part of the video, and one of the biggest questions I get is color selection. What colors do I choose and how do I choose them? And what I'll do first is I'll put up a graphic that's a good indicator or a good hint at where to start. These are not set in stone, so don't take it too literally. It's just kind of a good place to begin off or start off with the guessing game, if you will. So put the graphic up, and you can see here it's got it down by water type. So first one is clear water, and it says natural colors like white, shiny green, pumpkin, which is green and orange, browns, and bait fish. So that I assume bait fish is a more natural looking color. Cloudy or murky water, dark or fluorescent colors. Sometimes I found with real muddy water, like brown stained water after a rain, I found that black really contrasts well with that brown water. So that's something that I know from personal experience, that sometimes blacks work real good in that real brown dirty water. Now in stained water, it says bright colors like red, orange, or chartreuse. So that would cover just any off-color water. You're gonna go with some bright colors. And then thick vegetation. We don't really fish for trout too much in thick vegetation, but you know, it says two-tone colored lures, no green colors. So that's a good place to start, but it's not gospel. Like I bet some of you guys are already thinking, like, wait a minute, you know, I don't fish some of those colors and I still catch fish, or I'm never, you know, like I just said, around vegetation. So it's just a good, it kind of puts you in the ballpark, if you will. So now I'll tell you what I do, and my basic rule of thumb is in the morning when it's not quite real bright out, I will start with lighter colors. Then in the afternoon, I go to more of the brighter colors, or your two-tones, or your naturals. It's kind of like a free-for-all of colors around lunchtime, because typically the fish, in my experience, take a little bit of a break around lunch. They don't seem to bite as much. I usually haven't had a sleigh fest at between the hours of 11 and noon that I can think of. So it's just kind of a guessing game, throwing different colors. I know the fish are there, they just aren't really apt to bite, and they're kind of waiting for the afternoon to pick back up. Now in the afternoon, I typically go with dark colors. And the reason being is, especially on a sunny day where it's bright out, whether you're in murky water or clear water in the Sierras, when that sun's high up in the air, shining straight down, any lure you put in the water is gonna create a lot of shadow. And the fish probably aren't looking as much at the shadow or at the colors of the lure, they're looking at the shadow and the movement. So I tend to have a lot more luck in the afternoons with darks. All right, so what I did is I laid out some of the colors I use in those situations. And like I said before, this isn't set in stone, but these are just some of the colors that usually come to mind, whether it's morning, afternoon, or midday. Now, the first one you'll see is my lighter colors that I'll go to, like say in the morning, or if it's overcast throughout the day. Like you got Colombian Bam Bam, ghost shrimp, and of course goldfish. That one's been real hot lately. And then the next one is stuff that I'll probably look to throw middle of the day. Like you got pink smoke, desert locust, and good old gold, pearl, and brown, which you saw earlier in the video. For the afternoon bite, I'll usually go to dark colors. Like we got black galaxy, good old El Diablo, and purple rain. Now there's a few things to consider with color selection at each of the lakes you go to. I also get asked a lot just about a certain lake, like what color should I use? It's pretty relative. It depends on what the fish want that day. Here at Crowley, the water is kind of stained. It's not real clear, but the trout there, you're not really going after freshly stocked trout there too much. They do stock the lake, but it's a big, big lake. And most of the fish you catch, like you saw those rainbows that I caught in there earlier, are full finned, They're really, really aggressive, and they've been in the water a long time and grew their fins back. And because of that, they are surviving off the natural forage that's in the water. So you're gonna wanna start at a lake like Crowley with something more natural looking, something that represents something they would naturally eat in the water, because these fish have grown up a little bit and they're a little bit wiser, and they want something that really looks like their food that they naturally eat in that lake. So you're gonna stick with more of the natural colors, even though the water is stained. So like that chart said, you usually use more bright colors. So that's why I'm saying it's kind of a, you gotta kind of read between the lines a little bit and just try different stuff. If that guide says bright colors in certain conditions that you're in, don't just sit there and use only brights and not know why you're not getting bit. Try other colors. That's why I always say you gotta have a wide variety of colors. Like you want your whites or your brights, some naturals and some darks, and you should be just fine. And that's all I was doing on this day. I was out there throwing everything at them until I found a color that seemed to work, and started getting on the fish. And then you'll see after this, clouds came in, so I went back to light colors and then really started getting onto the fish. So that's really all there is to it. And just don't be afraid to change your colors, and think outside the box a little bit, because believe me, I don't have all the answers. It's a guessing game every time I go. Just try your best to make it an educated guessing game, and you'll do just fine. So let's go back to the action and see how the rest of the day shook out.
I guess my camera is running. This one's on Go Shrimp. Nice little fish. Simmer down, simmer down. Little dude followed it all the way in. Not bad little fish. There we go. A little pretty. Well, this might be a little bit better. Real nice fish. On that goldfish minnow this time. Man, these things love to run. There we go. Nice little fish. He's a little bit smaller. Oh, it's a cutty. Real good looking fish.
All right, there you have it. It's a good, fun day out at Crowley, but it was rough to start. I got out there a little bit after 7. I drove straight from my house, straight to the lake. So I was up probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, drove straight there, threw the kayak in, and all that searching you saw in the beginning of the video, I didn't get a bump. I mean, not a bump. And when I finally got that one, that was the first bite I had gotten all day, and that was probably at about 11:30, 11:45. So I was searching all over that lake, trying all the different colors I have, trying all the different spots, everywhere I thought the fish could be, and finally found a couple in that one area. Then that bite kind of slowed down. Then I headed back to another area, and I was just fishing a spot, and I was in very shallow water, so the fish finder was kind of useless. I'd make a few casts. If I didn't get bit, I'd move 5 or 10 feet down, make a few casts, didn't get bit, move 5 or 10 feet down. And then finally I got a follower and didn't get bit. I just saw him, made a few more casts, and then that storm came in, and those fish just started going crazy for the light colors, like the goldfish and the ghost shrimp. Just started tearing them up, and it was a lot of fun. Normally I don't fish when it's that windy, but when the fish are biting, I'll stay a little longer. So that's all there is to it. Just stay persistent. You don't have to have all the fancy fish finders and all that stuff sometimes. Just keep moving. You'll find them eventually. They're there. You just got to find them, and hopefully you'll get on some biters. And with that, if you want any of the fine products I use on this channel, there's a QR code right up here. If you want the Golden State Fishing custom baits, the Katana rods, the WaterLand sunglasses, the TRUDAVE waders, or the high sea waders, just click on this QR code. It will take you to a link tree, which has the hyperlinks to all these sites, and it has all the information on discount codes. And there's discounts of up to 15% off on some of the products. Additionally, in this video's description, I have all the hyperlinks listed and all the information on discount codes if you choose to purchase something. So go check them out. They're great products, or I wouldn't use them. As always, give us a like and subscribe if you like what you saw here. If you didn't, I appreciate you watching as long as you did. If you have any questions, please hit me up here on YouTube. You can also contact me on my Instagram at Seaspanker Outdoors. And coming up, looks like SoCal season's slowly starting to ramp up. So I went out to Mountain Lakes the other day for their trout opener. It was so-so. We got a few. I might be able to make a drop shot video out of it if you guys are interested in that. Also got the how to fish pyramid video. That one's, I'll be working on that as soon as I get done here with you guys. I'll start filming that one, and that should be out next week. So if you guys are wanting to go up there, it's going to cover everything you need to know, like where you can stay, how to fish, where to go, how cold it gets, you know, all those things. Where you're going to eat, like everything I could think of, the questions I had, I'm trying to put in that video. So to get you guys up there, because it's just too awesome. You guys, you got to make the trip. Biggest cutthroats on planet Earth, literally. You got to go up there. So with that, hope to see you guys out there, and tight lines.